History students, Mr. Birch here, and welcome to 8th grade social studies test practice questions. Today we're going to be talking about the Civil War and the Mississippi River. As always, when you see the question, press pause, take a moment, read and answer, then press play, and we'll go over it together. Let's get started. Okay, how did the loss of its control of the Mississippi River contribute to the defeat of the Confederacy? Okay, so first we got to know what the question's asking. So losing control of the Mississippi River, what did this affect for the Confederacy? All right, so first let's see what we can eliminate. The answer choices are: the river had provided direct access to the Union's base of military operations. Losing control of the river removed the physical barrier between slave and free states. The river had provided the Confederacy with a power source for factories and mills. And losing control of the river divided the Confederacy in two and cut off its supplies. So again, what we need to focus on is how did losing control of the river lead to their defeat? So it says losing control of the river removed the physical barrier between slave and free states. As we know, the Mississippi River runs from north to south. The line between the free states and the slave states was an east and west line, so that really wouldn't make a lot of sense there, so we can eliminate that one first. It said the river had provided direct access to the Union's base of military operations. Well, this is talking about what in losing the Mississippi River, how that affected negatively the Confederates. And this, first of all, the statement's not accurate, and second of all, it's less about the Confederacy and more about the Union. So let's see, what do we have to know? During the majority of the Civil War, the South controlled much of the Mississippi River and used it as a way to move troops and supplies quickly and efficiently north and south. Once the Union troops obtained some key victories along the Mississippi, thus gaining control of this major river, the South was now divided, and it was unable to transport those supplies and troops very easily. So knowing that kind of leads us to choose D here. Losing control of the river divided the Confederacy into and cut off its supplies. Let's go into a little more detail on that. So you see my map here with a really crude Mississippi River, my ugly blue line. Well, we can see that if the Union gains control of the Mississippi River here in the South, you have Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas that are cut off from the rest of the South if the Union controls that blue line, the Mississippi River there, all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. The Union, during the Civil War, very early on, understood the importance of the Mississippi River to the Confederate States. Gaining control of it was another matter altogether, though. The masterful and cunning tactics of the Confederate generals, many of whom were trained at elite military academies prior to the onset of the war, disallowed the Union forces access to much of the river. Vicksburg, Mississippi was on a high bluff overlooking the river and seemed impenetrable. But after many months under siege, Vicksburg finally surrendered on July 4th, 1863. Fun fact, interesting thing about Vicksburg, Mississippi, they didn't even celebrate July 4th as a U.S. holiday for many decades after that, just because of the obvious reasons of July 4th having a negative implication on their city. This opened up the Mississippi River once they took Vicksburg and eventually moved down to further gains for the Union, eventually splitting the southern states, again, along that blue line, in splitting the southern states in half, separating Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas from the rest of the South, and basically breaking the South's back in the process because it's splitting them in two. Now they couldn't move troops and supplies back and forth as well.